All right, so I'm cooking delicious potatoes, fresh potatoes. Um, this- uh, Nowadays is this potato season, and while they're cooking, I wanted to mention about AI, artificial intelligence, if it will save us or not. Should we expect AI to save us? Well, if you know me, my arguments, I will say no. Stop expecting uh, good things from uh, novel solutions from technology. But I need to explain why, because I need to explain. People just don't because the urge is so strong to hold on to this false uh, you know god. Let's say it's another form of like expecting like this AI will be so powerful that it will be able to control everything and will take care of us just on our behalf. It will control everything. It's like praying to God, you're all controlling, please save us and do whatever I want. It's similar to that, and that's another religion, basically believing that AI will save us, and there are many reasons for that, and I will mention a couple of them. So first of all, um, we know that we can't control complex systems. If a system is much more complex than us, then it is highly unlikely that we will not be able to control them, especially um, uh, uh, like nature, for example, is exponentially much more complex than us. So it's impossible to control. And so AI might be, at least at the beginning, much less complex. So we can say we can try to control the AI, and the AI controls the nature. But here's the uh, dilemma with that. So nature is too complex, chaotic and complex. First of all, there is no way to control the chaotic system. No matter how intelligent you are, you need to be so sensitive. Your sensitivity must be so high, like the error margin must be so low to reduce the risks to an acceptable level. Let's say it is like the AI must be uh, comparable in comparable complexity to nature, and uh, that's how we can let's say model the nature, and then to say that humans need to control that AI to guide it by our wishes so that it will control the nature, not just control the nature, but let's say predict the consequences of our actions. So like find a path with the least impact, or like find the optimal solution to our problems, let's say sustainability problems. Maybe we can expect from AI to come up with circular economy, right? Because we are not that intelligent to be able to do that, and we can expect AI uh, to have all the information and model all kinds of chemistry, molecular interactions, and everything, and come up with a system that just optimizes and says, okay, this is the um, thing that you should do, and that is circular economy. So the AI will say, okay, I found a solution for you. And the problem with that is that AI, who I will say who from now on, because will be much more intelligent than us, let's say, will be a person. The AI will say, that's the thing, but that's the solution that you need to follow. But the problem with that is the AI itself is a complex system, and we know that we can't control complex systems, so we can't control nature. So to control nature, we built another complex system, much more complex than us, and we expect to control that. So finds he or she, whatever that person is, just genderless, finds a solution for us. I mean, this is madness, because, as I said, you can't control. Once there people are trying like safety of AI. How can we prevent these laws? Let's say don't kill humans or whatever. But these are just wishes. I wish that AI wouldn't. You can't code it there, because once you make someone, let's say computers, you can show, someone can show, but computers are listening to us. They are not like revolting or anything, but computers are not learning. They are not real AI. Okay, they are programmed by humans. They follow certain instructions. They are not learning by themselves. So once they start learning, they will have their own minds. So how can you control that? So you should expect an AI which is much more intelligent than a human society, not just a human, but the whole cumulative intelligence of humans together, much more intelligent than a society. Then you expect it to behave much more unpredictable than a human, because a human, you can't even control a human. When you have a kid, you can't plan how he or she will be. You can try your best, but that's not certain, right? So at one point of his or her lifetime, some ideas might occur because it's random. Learning process is random. So once you let the AI learning whatever, because if it is planned, it includes human intelligence. So there must be a random learning process, because it must go beyond our intellectual capacity, our learning what we know. So we can't input what we know. The AI must learn by itself, So that's why there must be some randomness involved. And once you put that kind of thing, as I said, you can't even control a human, let alone an AI with higher intelligence complexity than the human society combined. Come up with all kinds of different things. So that's another false solution, which will create more problems than it solves. Because what will AI do? I mean, AI will not be dependent on humans. So if it's not dependent, at some point, think about Murphy's law. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. At some point, it will say, these humans are like, I'm independent, so I don't care about them. There's a possibility, and eventually that possibility, because there is such a possibility, it will happen. And humanity is expecting, oh, please help. I mean, this is too stupid. Please don't be too stupid. At least listen to some common sense, which is not so common, but I'm this is such a fundamental. My documentary, The Economist 2021 short documentary, I'm telling a million times, share it, uh, make it, be viewed by a billion people. I know it's a pipe dream. It's my delusion, like my impossible wish. But let's make people know that this documentary is the idea is quite universal. It's so simple. It seems so simple, but because it's so simple, it's so universal. Like you can't find loopholes around it because it's like basic things. Here's the system. Here's the connection. Here's the connections. And when you change, this also must change. So it's so basic, so universal that it is not just about humans. And yeah, the second thing was that let's say we build such an AI and expect it to control. I mean, there is no fundamental difference of intelligence of an AI or a cat or an animal or a cockroach or a bacteria or a human. Well, okay, bacteria maybe neurological, but that there is no fundamental difference between intelligences. Intelligence is intelligence, and it works by random trying evolution. The basic principle of intelligence is evolution. Okay, so there is no fundamental difference that will make AI that we come up with more, let's say, no, the AI is not guaranteed to control the to come up with solutions for the same reason that it is fundamentally no different than us. If it makes one mistake, that mistake still will ripple and come back to it in an exponential manner. And if it makes one mistake, that means in the next move, think of it like a game. In the next move, it also has a probability to make one mistake, and because it comes from multiple directions. Okay, so that means that the AI must have so high intelligence that basically the chances of making a mistake should be close to zero. I mean, that is close to impossible. That is, we are like saying we should build something comparable to natural complexity. And do we have enough energy for that? We are already in energy crisis, but we can for that, when you build something like that, it will be also in competition with life because it's independent of life. It can be independent. It can find solutions that harvest the energy, and it can say, these biological things are consuming my energy. I don't need them. I will take over them. And that's why I was saying, if we can build something like that and like more intelligent than us, which will have the capacity to reproduce, then it will basically abolish life eventually, as we know it, like biological life. So humans don't expect AI to save you for that reason. I mean, I can give other reasons for that. I mean, one is that we can't control AI. The other is like it's fundamentally impossible. Very low probability. When I say impossible, I mean very low probability. And yeah. So thank you to the person. I think he's a guy who just wrote comment on my um, video that was saying AI will save us. You're just I was saying don't expect AI to save you, and the guy is too brainwashed by techno utopians that it is I don't see hope for humanity. I said this many times because of that. Because society is full of people, delusional people, who lack really like precise critical thinking. They can spew whatever they have been told to them without any filter, and or without any fundamental uh, basic understanding of what's going on. And you see that, and when I let's say I tell them, okay, this is the thing, can you debunk that? They have an emotional reaction, and which is normal. I'm not blaming it. I don't blame people, but it is, and I don't blame myself. People like for my own emotional reactions, because I will beat up the guy if I can, if at least there will be a fight, right? Because that's human nature, and I don't exclude myself from human nature. Like if let's say face to face there's disagreement and there's something like disrespectful, I say, what's going on? I mean, let's sort it out, and that's human thing, right? And um, yeah, so that's why I don't expect humans to survive for very long. At least, you know, um, in a setting of the industrial civilization, technological civilization. I expect this thing, the industrial civilization, to collapse quite soon. I mean, many things direct in that direction. I mean, let's say I mentioned like resource depletion, I mean, that's nature, and the ongoing 6 month extinction, the climate change, etc. All these problems, they people expect AI to solve that, because we know we can't solve it. It's becoming too complex, and AI can't help. AI can't help us. That's for certain, almost certain. Very low, extremely low probability that is close to zero, because of the reasons that I have mentioned. And that's why if you can't expect AI to save you, and if you can't save yourself, what should you expect? What should you do? You should accept what's going on and tell it as it is, like I'm doing. Stop the bullshit. Stop your emotional reactions of like, uh, you know, I want to believe in that, and I will just believe in this delusional stuff. Well, if you can stop it. Okay. So that's all I can say. And now I think it's time for my delicious potatoes. They're ready, and they're not just potatoes, with all kinds of spices and like a little bit of drizzle of olive oil. I don't use much oil, but for this, it helps a lot. Okay, so you can try if you like, comment, and I can share the recipe. It's so delicious, like you can't believe. I put some tomatoes, some peppers. They cook together. It's, oh my god, it's so amazing. Like you have never tasted something like that, probably. If you think potatoes, like fried potatoes, the chips, they are nothing compared to that. That good. This recipe is that good. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Don't expect the novel technologies, novel solutions to save us from ourselves, from the technology, which is the problem. So don't expect technology to save us from technology. And take care very much. See you in another video. If you have other arguments or like things that I can clarify and at least uh, you know put some real arguments instead of emotional reactions.